Hello, I am Jerome.
And let me ask you an upfront question. How serious are you about finding Mr. or Miss Right? Is your ultimate goal to have a serious relationship? Get married, have a family, and have all what it takes to be happy? Recently, I was speaking to some of my single friends on how the dating scene seems to have changed so much and how it seems more complicated and tougher to know if you've met the right person. There's this dating website, and she or he is texting this one and that one about happy face this and hashtag that. Oh, wow. Okay, let me try and simplify all this. I just read this little book on the same dilemma, on which I personally am going to recommend and suggest that you take a look at. But before I reveal it, let me ask you a strange question, and there's a reason for it. Have you ever looked over a cliff or over a high apartment balcony and wondered, if I were to fall, would I live? No, really, have you ever asked yourself the question like that? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you defy a principle of consequence, will it work out in your favor with a positive result? Well, if you want certain disasters to happen, then yes, if it works. But if you want true joy and fulfillment after the fact, then you need to follow and work with foundational principles, not against it. The same can be definitely said in relationships. Now, I'm going to review a great little book about singles and courting. That's right, not dating, but courting. I found out there is a difference, and it's important to understand that difference. When I personally spoke to the author of my review, I wanted to know what this difference was. The author I'm speaking of is Tanika Chambers, of the book Single, Ready, and Waiting. I see Tanika as a courting relationship expert following biblical principles. Okay. Before I lose you, let me remind you about the analogy I first gave you. If you leap over a cliff or some other high point expecting a good kind of result without understanding what is expected to happen, what tools you will need to save you, and how to use these tools wisely, then let's face it, you'll be in some serious trouble. It's only a matter of time. However, if you follow principles, because principles are principles, you'll actually gain respect not only of yourself and others, but to the principle of the universe as well. My review is coming to you shortly, but after speaking with Tanika, how I've now interpreted the difference between courting and dating is directly related to the seriousness of one's mindset. This book, Single, Ready, and Waiting, is for the single who wants a serious, fulfilling, long-term covenant relationship and not be bothered with the needing to take undesired chances with their heart. Whether you're a Christian or not, how easy, let me ask you, how easy is it to get sucked up in the dating scene? To fall for this guy or this girl and believe maybe, just maybe, this is the one. Well, you can continue that trend and spend your time testing this dating site or try this place or do a blind date here and there, or you could simply read this book. Remember, this book is for those who are serious and not interested in the trial by error means. Okay, so let's do this review of Single, Ready, and Waiting. This book is based on signals, a form of principles you can say. Remember the cliff analogy I gave you earlier. So, if you don't pay attention to these signals, these telltale signs, well, you'll be heading for an inevitable collision that otherwise, well, could be really avoided. Chapter 1, this is how it begins. It details all the signals you need to be aware of, and depending on the circumstance, how you can use them wisely. Look, do you or do you not want to remove all the guessing of finding Mr. or Miss Right? But if you have the time to waste, then, this book really is not for you. Go ahead, jump off the cliff of single suicide. It's okay, really, because it's your life. But if you follow principles in this book, you'll grow, one, in confidence, you'll grow in attraction, discernment, and if it ends up, you'll have that peace of mind. That's what you really want. And that mixed with all the things that I've just mentioned. Plus, it's more fun when you're looking forward to tomorrow rather than living with what could have been if you had only known what is possible today. Chapter 2. Tanika shares a story about getting in a situation that not only could have cost her her mental state, but her very life. This pivotal experience of her life resulted in a loss of 8 years, which almost ended fatally. She goes on to share that though this relationship was extreme, it, like most other bad relationships, was preventable if she knew and had followed the signals. All too often, people ignore these signals, and then they try to convince themselves that they'll figure it out somehow. Meanwhile, they don't see that their entire demeanor has also changed for the worse, and that they are in a free fall. Stop, really stop, hold on. Who wants to live with the terrible feeling of regret? If given another chance, who would in a split second not only jump but leap at the chance to do it differently? I would bet most of us would. This scenario is all too common though, and it shouldn't be. Even worse than that would be the length of time that person lived with that regret, and even worse still, the frequency of continually finding themselves in those kind of regrettable situations. Think how devastatingly traumatic this could be, and it happens. It doesn't have to. Now, would this little book not be worth a lifetime of promise and fulfillment? I don't want to harp on this too much, but I'll give you one more analogy to hammer home this point. Have you ever tried to stop down a slippery hill while heading for an obstacle you need to avoid, or there would be or could be fatal consequences? But because of wrong decisions, wrong directions, wrong momentums, your life flashes before your eyes, and in that instant you wonder, what happened? You need to read this book. Chapter 3. Remember this term, wholeness without holes. This chapter is for those confident people before they enter into the relationship, then over time feel empty from the relationship. Chapter 3 replugs the holes if needed, but strengthens the lining of the whole self and shows what one needs to do to prevent it from damaging them again. Readers will also learn about release and really let go. The chapter also explains points of really ending it, getting rid of stuff, and breaking soul ties. Now, chapter 4 details how dating and courting is a direct correlation of one's commitment level in the relationship. Knowing the difference increases the guarantee for a more enjoyable, fulfilling life. Readers will learn the absolute foundations for building an awesome, intimate relationship. You'll also learn why the spiritual component of a serious relationship is vitally important. Chapter 5 gives 3 equations based on 3 situations. I'm going to roughly give them to you now. Let's, for example, the first equation: you're not ready, you're with the wrong person. Guess what that will equal to? How about the second one? You're ready, you're with the wrong person though, and that equals, I'll leave that blank as well. And how about the third one? You're ready, you're with the right person, but you're in the wrong time. When you know what, you gotta read the book. I won't spoil it for you. You gotta read the book, find out the answer. Like the title of her book, Tanika uses the term R-E-A-D-Y, ready, to show you how you know that when you're ready to go to the next level. Chapter 6, you're introduced to potholes. Now, potholes can be the most frustrating aspect of having your Mr. or Miss right. Tanika takes you through 10 crucial potholes that could cause you a lifetime of regret. Chapter 7 looks at the key factors of age, length of time the person is single, one's desire for marriage, and what one can learn during the waiting phase. Chapter 8. Alright, people, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that could be. Let's talk about sex. Let's be honest, the barriers of sex have been smashed wide open in every front. Your eyes, your mind, your body is exposed to it every single day. So what do you do? I'll be honest with you here, Tanika doesn't spend a lot of time on this topic because she's very passionate about reserving the climax of having sex and not commonizing it. Chapter 9 identifies the 9 types of men women should think twice about before courting. Very, very interesting. Some of the other points of the chapter are covered are: how come you cannot attract Mr. and Miss Right? Women, how do you distinguish the men from the boys? Why do you need to be aware of Christian movies? Money may not be everything, but if he doesn't look after it, he cannot look after you. Is he Superfly and know it? How about this one? Why Superman may not be the hero women need? Why be very aware of the sex that can't wait kind of man? And then a few others that she gets into: the dangers of being next in line of a breakup, or involved with the double-minded, or involved with one who lacks in responsibility and accountability. Chapter 10. Okay, women, do you want to know how to attract marriage-minded men into church? It's not that difficult, apparently. But you know what? You got to read up to chapter 10 to find out. Chapter 11 takes us from the transition of dating to courtship, then the sacred stage of courtship. Chapter 12, Tanika gives the pros of the sacred stage of courtship as well as the cautions. So, you'll be taught what to do and how to successfully do what it takes. Therefore, with Tanika's lessons and instructions, singles wouldn't need to do the try this date, then this one, then another in order to find Mr. or Miss Right. Okay, so now you have it. This is the outline. I hope you found my review of Single Ready and Waiting informative and well worth your time. I hope it also sheds some light on what this book is all about and why it would be worth it if you're single, you're ready because you've prepared your whole self, and because you've been willing to wait for the right person. Single Ready and Waiting is the perfect book for the serious-minded, intimate relationship builder. I tell you, get your copy today by clicking on this link or the button below and enjoy.